The sound of explosions in the distance grew louder as 6-year-old Anya pressed her face against the cold window of their small apartment in Mariupol. Her German shepherd Maxim sat beside her, his massive frame trembling not from fear but from an instinct that told him something terrible was approaching. The morning of March 5th, 22, would become the day that changed everything for this little girl and her loyal companion. Maxim had been with the Petrov family since he was a puppy. Victor had found him at a local shelter, and the German shepherd had immediately bonded with baby Anya, becoming her constant protector. Now, 4 years later, that protective instinct had only grown stronger. Elena, a nurse at the local hospital, frantically stuffed clothes into a worn backpack while Victor, an engineer, made urgent phone calls. The family had waited too long, hoping the conflict would pass them by. "Mama, why can't Maxim come?" Anya asked, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. Elena's heart shattered with each repetition of the question she couldn't answer satisfactorily. "The bus is very crowded, sweetie," Elena said, her voice barely steady. But the truth was harsher. The evacuation coordinator had been clear. 1 suitcase per person. No pets, no exceptions. Maxim seemed to sense the approaching separation. He followed Anya everywhere, pressing close to her legs, his brown eyes filled with an intelligence that made Elena wonder how much he truly understood. When she tried to give him extra food, he pushed the bowl away and returned to Anya's side. The evacuation bus arrived at dawn, its yellow paint chipped and windows cracked from the journey through the war zone. The driver, a weathered man named Petro, had made this run 12 times in the past month. His eyes had the hollow look of someone who had seen too much suffering. 10 minutes, he announced as families began boarding. "We leave in 10 minutes whether you're ready or not." His words were harsh, but Elena could see the pain behind them. This man was trying to save as many lives as possible, and sentiment was a luxury he couldn't afford. Victor knelt beside Maxim one final time. The German shepherd's ears were pinned back, his tail low, as if he understood what was about to happen. "Guard the house, boy," Victor whispered, pressing his forehead against Maxim's. "We'll come back. I promise we'll come back." Anya clung to Maxim's neck, sobbing into his thick coat. "I love you, Maxim, don't forget me." The dog whimpered softly, licking the tears from her face with gentle kisses. Elena had to physically pull her daughter away, her own tears blinding her as she carried the screaming child toward the bus. Other passengers watched in sympathetic silence. Too many of them had made similar sacrifices. As the bus pulled away from their street, Anya pressed her face to the rear window and saw Maxim standing in their doorway, watching the vehicle disappear into the smoky horizon. That image would haunt her dreams for months to come. What no one on that bus knew was that Maxim had no intention of staying behind. The moment the vehicle vanished from sight, the German shepherd began the most incredible journey of his life. Using instincts honed over thousands of years of breeding, he started following the scent trail left by the bus, beginning an epic 1,200-kilometer trek that would test every fiber of his being. The first day was chaos. Maxim followed the main road out of Mariupol, dodging military convoys and streams of refugees on foot. The acrid smell of smoke and explosives filled the air, making it difficult to track the bus's scent. But Maxim persisted, his powerful nose filtering through the chaos to find the familiar smell of his family. By evening, he had covered nearly 50 kilometers, his paws bloody from running on rough asphalt. He found water at an abandoned gas station and continued his journey into the night, driven by an unshakable determination to find his family. The bus reached Poland after 2 grueling days. The Petrov family found themselves in a refugee camp. Outside Krakow, rows of white tents filled with displaced Ukrainians. The conditions were basic but safe, with aid workers distributing hot meals and warm clothes. But nothing could fill the void in Anya's heart. She had stopped crying but refused to eat or speak. Elena watched her daughter sitting silently in corners, staring at nothing with empty eyes. "She's in shock," explained Dr. Natasha Melnick, a volunteer psychiatrist helping refugee children. "Many kids shut down when they've lost something precious. She may not speak for weeks." Elena tried everything: coloring books, small toys donated by local children, even cartoon videos on borrowed tablets. But Anya remained withdrawn, speaking only in whispers and only when absolutely necessary. "I dream about Maxim every night," Anya finally told her mother during their second week. "He's always running, Mama. He looks tired." Elena's heart broke anew. "It's just a dream, sweetheart. Maxim is safe at home waiting for us." But even as she said the words, she wondered if their dog had survived the intensifying battle for Mariupol. Elena tried everything to reach her daughter. She brought coloring, books, small toys donated by local children, even borrowed a tablet with cartoon videos. But Anya remained withdrawn, speaking only in whispers and only when absolutely necessary. "I dream about Maxim every night," Anya finally told her mother during their second week in the camp. "He's always running, Mama. He looks tired." Elena's heart broke anew. "It's just a dream, sweetheart. Maxim is safe at home waiting for us." But even as she said the words, she wondered if their dog had survived the intensifying battle for Mariupol. As Victor prepared to leave, Anya spoke more words than she had. Since their arrival, "Papa, if you find Maxim, tell him I'm waiting." Meanwhile, Maxim had reached the Carpathian Mountains after 2 weeks of grueling travel. The terrain was brutal steep climbs, dense forests, and unpredictable spring weather. His thick coat was matted with mud and burrs, his ribs visible beneath his fur. He had lost nearly 15 kilograms, surviving on scraps and small animals when hunger became unbearable. Near Lviv, he encountered a pack of feral dogs led by a large mixed breed who challenged him for territory. Under normal circumstances, Maxim would have avoided conflict, but starvation and desperation had awakened wilder instincts. The fight was brief but left him with a cut above his left eye and a pronounced limp. Local residents who witnessed the encounter began posting about the fighting ghost dog on social media. These posts reached the refugee community in Poland, where rumors spread about a German shepherd traveling alone toward the border. Elena dismissed them as wishful thinking, but something deep inside her hoped against logic. The border crossing proved to be his greatest challenge. Polish guards monitored for various threats, and a large, battle-scarred German shepherd moving alone triggered their alert systems. For 3 days, Maxim circled the security perimeter, looking for weakness. On a foggy night in early April, he found his opportunity. A damaged fence section allowed him to squeeze through into Poland. Adding another scar to his growing collection, Polish authorities later found evidence of his crossing blood on the fence. Paw prints in the mud and security camera footage showing a ghostly figure moving through the mist. The footage went viral on Polish social media, with thousands sharing the video of the determined dog in the refugee camp. Elena was helping distribute meals when another volunteer showed her the viral video on a smartphone. "Look at this," the woman said. "Some people think this dog is looking for his family." Elena watched the grainy footage, her heart stopping as she recognized the distinctive gait and size. "That could be," she whispered, but couldn't finish the sentence. Hope was too dangerous when disappointment seemed inevitable. 3 weeks into his journey through Poland, Maxim's condition had deteriorated severely. A veterinarian in a small town spotted him and managed to approach with food and water. Dr. Kowalski was amazed by the dog's determination, but concerned about his health. "Boy, you need medical attention," he said gently, trying to examine Maxim's wounds. But the German shepherd, though grateful for the food, wouldn't stay still for treatment. He had a mission to complete. Dr. Kowalski followed protocol and reported the sighting to local authorities, who were now actively searching for the refugee dog that had captured the nation's attention. Animal rescue groups offered rewards for his safe capture. But Maxim stayed one step ahead of his would-be rescuers. His breakthrough came when he caught a familiar scent on the wind: Elena's perfume, Anya's shampoo, Victor's cigarettes. The refugee camp was just kilometers away, and Maxim's pace quickened despite his exhaustion. On April 18th, 34 days after leaving Mariupol, Maxim reached the outskirts of the refugee camp. But his journey had one final, dangerous chapter. Elena and Anya were walking to the nearby village market to buy fresh vegetables with vouchers provided by aid organizations. It was Anya's first time leaving the camp since their arrival. A small sign of progress in her healing. As they walked along a quiet country road, a white van began following them. 3 men inside had been watching the camp, looking for vulnerable targets. Human traffickers had discovered that refugee women and children were easy prey. Desperate, isolated, and with limited local language skills, Elena sensed danger and picked up her pace, but the van pulled alongside them. The men got out, speaking in broken Polish about helping them get to better accommodations in Germany. "No, thank you," Elena said firmly, pulling Anya closer. But the men persisted, their intentions becoming clearer as they blocked the road ahead. Just as the situation seemed hopeless, a familiar bark echoed across the countryside. Maxim emerged from a nearby field, his appearance shocking thin, scarred, limping, but radiating an intensity that made the would-be attackers step back. The German shepherd positioned himself between the strangers and his family, his growl low and menacing. Despite his weakened condition, his protective instincts were stronger than ever. "That's a police dog," one of the men said nervously. "Let's go." They quickly retreated to their van and drove away, leaving behind the miracle none of them had dared hope for. Anya stared at the exhausted, battle-scarred animal, afraid to believe what she was seeing. "Mama," she whispered, "is that?" Maxim's ears perked up at the sound of her voice, a voice he had traveled across a continent to hear again. He took a tentative step forward, whimpering softly with joy and exhaustion. Elena gasped as recognition dawned. "Maxim?" The dog's tail began to wag, slowly at first, then with increasing enthusiasm despite his obvious pain. Anya dropped to her knees, and Maxim summoned his last reserves of strength to bound forward, covering her face with gentle kisses as both of them cried, the little girl with joy, the dog with relief at finally completing his impossible mission. The reunion drew a crowd of other refugees and camp workers, many moved to tears by the incredible sight. Someone called the local news station, and within hours Maxim's story had gone viral around the world. Videos of the emaciated but triumphant German shepherd reuniting with his family were viewed millions of times, becoming a symbol of hope during one of Europe's darkest hours. Dr. Kowalski volunteered to treat Maxim free of charge, marveling at the dog's condition. "In all my years of practice, I've never seen such determination in an animal," he said as he stitched wounds and administered antibiotics. "He's lost about 15 kilograms, but his heart is stronger than ever." The story took another emotional turn when Victor saw the news coverage on a phone in his military unit near Kharkiv. Tears streaming down his face, he showed the video to his commanding officer, requesting leave to reunite with his family. "Go," his commander said without hesitation. "A dog that can travel 1,200 kilometers to find his family deserves to have that family complete." Victor's journey back to Poland was far easier than Maxim's had been. Within 2 days, he was holding Elena and Anya again, with Maxim lying contentedly at their feet despite his injuries. But Maxim's protective instincts weren't finished yet. During their second week together in the camp, he began displaying unusual behavior around a particular aid worker who had been especially helpful to refugee children. The dog would position himself between this man and Anya, growling quietly whenever the worker approached. Elena initially thought Maxim was just being overprotective after their traumatic separation, but the dog's behavior was too specific, too focused. Other families reported similar warnings from Maxim whenever this particular volunteer was around their children. When Polish authorities investigated the aid worker, based on Maxim's consistent warnings and reports from multiple families, they discovered he was part of a trafficking network that had been exploiting refugee children under the cover of humanitarian aid. Once again, Maxim had saved his family from danger, this time using the hypervigilance he had developed during his incredible journey across war-torn Eastern Europe. Today, the family lives in a modest apartment in Krakow, slowly rebuilding their lives from the ashes of war. Maxim has regained his weight but still bears scars from his journey, a jagged line above his left eye, claw marks on his flanks, and a slight limp that becomes noticeable when it rains. Anya has started school and is learning Polish with remarkable speed. She practices by reading to Maxim every evening just as she did in Mariupol. The German Shepherd has become something of a local celebrity, with children from around the world sending letters and treats to the refugee hero dog. Victor found work with a construction company, helping rebuild infrastructure damaged by the influx of refugees. Elena volunteers at the regional hospital, using her nursing skills to help other displaced families navigate their new reality. They've applied for permanent residency in Poland, understanding that their future lies in building something new rather than clinging to what they lost. Dr. Kowalski still sees Maxim for regular checkups and has documented the dog's journey for veterinary journals worldwide. What Maxim accomplished defies scientific explanation, he notes in his research. The bond between humans and dogs operates on psychological and perhaps even genetic levels we're only beginning to understand. On quiet evenings, the family walks together through Krakow's historic streets, with Maxim trotting proudly beside them. Strangers often approach to pet the famous dog, but his attention never wavers from his primary mission, keeping his family safe and together. Anya, now 7 years old and increasingly talkative, often tells classmates about her superhero dog. When asked what makes Maxim so special, she says with the confidence only a child can possess, "He promised to protect me, and he never breaks his promises." Even when the whole world is scary, Maxim makes everything safe again. This incredible story continues to inspire people worldwide, serving as a reminder that even in humanity's darkest hours, love finds a way. Sometimes it comes on 4 legs, travels impossible distances, and proves that the heart's compass is more reliable than any GPS device ever created.